Hello, lovely people, and we're back with an exclusive interview. But before we delve into this, we have a new sneak peek tease into the new show With Love, Meghan, which was released just a short while ago, so I want to quickly cover that. In this clip, she shows us a presentation on a morning plate saying, quote, "It's a real delight in being able to be a present parent, and it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work," end quote. So look at her there in those clips, dressed to impress, and she also makes a smaller version for one serving. She recreates the whole plate, and it's equally as impressive and delicate, and you can see the care she puts into this as she puts on those yogurt clouds as the clouds, so you can see the creativity and color in those plates. Really encouraging, especially for young ones, to get those fruits in. I love how healthy it is as well. And as the saying goes, we eat with our eyes as well. So this is the amount of effort and care she takes into making those breakfasts for her family. I love how she puts on flour sprinkles, just that cherry on top. And I love the encouragement for people to incorporate those practices in every day. Indeed, look at what you've made, Meghan. So we have a huge article to go into. Without further ado, let's get into this, where Meghan has talked about her kids, Prince Harry, her new brand, and the Netflix show. So sit down and relax, and let's get straight into this. So the article starts off by saying, Meghan is curled up in bed with her sleeping 5-year-old Prince Archie on a recent winter evening in Montesito, California. With her phone in hand, she catches up on emails, finalizing details for the launch of her renamed lifestyle brand, As Ever, and her new Netflix show, With Love, Meghan. Her husband, Prince Harry, is still in Vancouver wrapping up the Invictus Games. Meghan had joined him for several days, during which she stayed in close touch with her mother, Doria, checking in on Archie and Princess Lilibet, who both had gotten sick, and making sure they were seen by the doctor and sipping bone broth. Now she's savoring the stillness at home with Archie as he stirs awake, sleepily telling her, quote, "Mama, don't work too hard," end quote. Recalling the moment to people a few days later, the Duchess of Sussex says, quote, "It was the sweetest thing," end quote. Like any entrepreneur, Meghan has tackled the hard work of launching a new business, but unlike most, she has done so under an intense spotlight. In March 2024, her initial brand name, American Riviera Orchard, debuted online. 1 month later, jars of jam with the brand's logo began circulating amongst pals like Nacho Figueras and more, and then came a pause. As anticipation grew, questions arose about when the products would be available, while behind the scenes she navigated trademark issues. Quote, "There are tons of twists and turns, even with the name," end quote. She said in her most intimate interview in years, quote, "I was figuring it out in real time," end quote. And although she's faced intense public scrutiny at every step, Meghan says the experience has been defined by growth. Quote, "I appreciate everyone who gave me the grace to make mistakes and figure it out, and also to be forgiving with myself through that. It's a learning curve," end quote, she added. As Meghan builds her brand, she also continues to expand her life in Montesito. 5 years have passed since she and Harry made the seismic decision to step back from their royal roles in the UK and chart their own path, but their titles remain. Meghan says the Sussex name, bestowed upon her and Harry by Queen Elizabeth II on their 2018 wedding day, holds a deeper significance than she could have imagined before motherhood. Quote, "It's our shared name as a family, and I guess I hadn't recognized how meaningful that would be to me until we had children," end quote. She continued, quote, "I love that is something that Archie and Lili, H and I have together. It means a lot to me," end quote. The Sussex name, she adds, is part of our love story, in quotes. Now, with her new show debuting March the 4th on Netflix, she is sharing her personal passions, including cooking, hostessing, and decorating with her biggest audience yet. Quote, "When your children get to a certain age, when you're not just playing in the sandbox with them, but almost playing in your own sandbox again, it's super joyful. as a woman, a mom, and a wife, to be able to find yourself again in a way that was always present, but that you maybe couldn't put as much attention on you as you can now when your kids are a bit older. It's a wonderful feeling, end quote. Although the couple's 2022 Netflix docuseries, The Record-Breaking Harry and Meghan, famously pulled back the curtain on their struggles within the royal family, this time there is no mention of anything royal. Harry himself makes only a fleeting appearance in the final episode, but his presence was felt behind the scenes. Quote, "Whenever Harry visited the set, he was always super polite and friendly," end quote, a crew member told People, saying, quote, "But it was always clear he wanted this to be Meghan's moment to shine," end quote. So Meghan's 8-episode lifestyle show sees her cooking, crafting, and gardening with friends and chefs while sharing personal stories and recipes, a natural extension of her pre-royal life. In 2014, while filming Suits in Toronto, she launched The Tig, a blog on food, travel, and wellness, years ahead of the influencer boom. But as her relationship with Harry deepened, she shut it down in 2017 and later deleted her Instagram before joining royal life. How hard was it to let go? She was asked, quote, "Well, I love the Tig, but I certainly love my husband more. So that was a choice I made at the time, and I would not change that for a second," end quote. Harry is now loving watching Meghan step back into her creative groove. Quote, "My husband met me when I had the Tig, and I see the spark in his eye when he sees me doing the thing that I was doing when he first met me," end quote. Even though the activities on her new show feel familiar to Meghan's longtime followers, the filming pushed her beyond the comfort zone she knew from her 7 seasons on Suits. Quote, "I was never really in front of the camera like this," end quote, she said, reflecting on the drama, which became one of Netflix's most streamed shows in 2023. She added, quote, "It's a time capsule for me. I still have the pencil skirt from the first episode. That's the one thing I kept," end quote. She remains close to co-stars like Abigail Spencer and is excited to see the upcoming Suits LA on Peacock, saying, quote, "I love that it gets a new breath of fresh air," end quote. Her show isn't a traditional stand and stir format, an industry term Meghan learned during filming to describe most cooking shows. Quote, "It feels as though we're just spending time together," which is what it ended up being, end quote. She says of the crew's presence on the show, quote, "I'd make a recipe and say, 'Everyone try this,' and there are certain dishes when you just watch everyone flock in. I'd say we've run out of spoons. It ended up feeling so communal, and that's the spirit of the show," end quote. Ads director Michael Steed, who previously worked on the Emmy-winning series Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, quote, "Everyone has this one version of her, but she's just someone who is hustling and working and doing. I genuinely wanted to create an environment where she could relax, and I know the pressures of what she deals with on a daily basis. I was happy that we created scenes where she could just tap into that part of her life," end quote. Along with featuring her domestic skills with Love, Meghan also highlights her own product line, which will be available on asever.com. Meghan has hinted that her signature jam. So the article also talks about her being back on Instagram for the first time in years, saying, quote, "When I was last on social media, Boomerang was the thing," she said, laughing. Quote, "Instagram stories didn't even exist, so it's been a minute," end quote. Despite this intense focus on her return to Instagram, where her 2 million followers analyze everything from her outfits to the plates she uses, Meghan doesn't identify as an influencer. Quote, "I see myself as an entrepreneur and a female founder, and if the brand ends up influential, then that's great," end quote. And although the show paints a picture of domestic bliss with Meghan slow-cooking berries from her garden, she doesn't consider herself a trad wife, in quotes, shorthand for traditional wife, either. Quote, "I like being able to do a hybrid," she said. "Chinese food delivery is a favorite," quote, "but even when I get takeout, I will try to plate it beautifully," end quote. Meghan went on to say, she encourages others to strive for balance, not perfection, despite her show's beautiful imagery. Quote, "The series is about doing what you can do and doing it with love," end quote. The outlook was first noticed by a friend who visited the set and came up with the name of the show. Quote, their takeaway was they were so happy to see me as myself, Meghan said. Going on to say, quote, she said, it's like your love letter to all the things you love to do, and you're signing off a love letter with love, Meghan. It felt right, and I loved that my friend helped create it, end quote. Receiving that kind of feedback from her friends who have quietly supported her through the challenges of recent years has been meaningful for Meghan. Quote, you have to imagine my friends' experience through the past few years, she said. Quote, they spend all this time with me at home and at their houses or out at dinners. For them to see who they know to be reflected on screen, it brought them a lot of joy, end quote. The Montesito community who have gotten to know her from school drop-offs and playdates with Archie and Lili have become essential. Quote, we hosted a little camp because winter break was long. End quote, she said with a laugh, going on to say, quote, we had several days with different families at our home and we were able to get to know the parents better and all the kids could play, end quote. Meghan and Harry set up an obstacle course and face painting. It's a dream, she said, going on to say, quote, but I also know that being part of a community means you put effort into it, end quote. In the process, Meghan says, Montesito has become protective of the Sussexes. Quote, once you know us, I think you want us to have the same normalcy as parents and for our children as they do, despite however unique our situation is, end quote. For Meghan, normal looks like nights out with Harry and pals. Quote, we go to a lot of dinners and not just in people's homes or private rooms. We just go into restaurants, she says. I really love that we can just have fun, end quote. Her friendships with other moms have grown beyond school ties into deeper connections, saying, quote, I have a couple of girlfriends up here. These are stay-at-home moms and working women with normal jobs, not in the public eye, end quote. She said, we went from just connecting through our kids to having girls' night out or doing Pilates together, end quote. One confidant recalled how they first connected with Archie and her daughter becoming fast friends at school. Meghan reached out with a voicemail inviting her to do a play date. Quote, you can see that as a unit, end quote, the friend says of the Sussexes. Quote, they are all very connected, end quote. After her son's recent surgery, the friend recalled Meghan sent a bouquet of balloons and a stuffed octopus from Archie and Lili with a handwritten note that said, quote, we thought you could use a hug with 8 arms, end quote. And the article goes on to say when Meghan was invited to her low-key birthday party at home, she showed up despite not knowing anyone else and chatted with the other women about mom stuff and life. The pal says, quote, it was just fun and natural. She was very comfortable, just chilling, end quote. And the article talks about the family's sprawling estate being their sanctuary, which is why Meghan chose to film her show in a nearby rental that echoes their own space. She explained, quote, I wanted to protect that safe haven. We are a close-knit family and I love those moments, putting Lili down for a nap, having lunch together, having sacred time together at the end of the day. Our kitchen is where Mama just cooks for the family, and with a crew of 80 plus people, that's a lot of people to have in your house, end quote. The show also gives Meghan a chance to put her kid-friendly meals to the test. Quote, I'm up before my kids are, so I'm normally up by 6:30. And then I get them up and dressed for the day and we go downstairs. I love making breakfast for my family, end quote. My husband and Archie both love fried eggs, she said in quotes, saying, quote, there's a lot of bacon around here and then sometimes you don't have the time for all that and you just put a frozen waffle in the toaster and call it a day, and there's no shame in that either, end quote. Not surprisingly, Meghan identifies food as one of her love languages, saying, quote, even before I was a mom, I loved being able to nurture in that way. Some of my favorite childhood moments are the meals that my mom would make. She'd make a lot of soul food. I remember she'd taken a Thai cooking class, so every week we had Thai barbecue chicken, spring rolls, and I remember those flavors so well. I want my kids to have the same formative memories of things that I cook. We call them mama meals, and those are the ones that I hope they come back to when they're older, when they're married and they have their own kids, and they go, oh, let's have a mama meal, and it's the same roast chicken I've been making since they were little, end quote. So the article talks about legacy. And she says, while she may not have filmed inside her home, she found ways to incorporate home life into the show, filming in their chicken coop, garden, and orchard. Saying, quote, Archie did the filming, clapboard, sweet moments. They would also come with my husband and visit me on set, and I loved that my children were able to watch me working and see the balance of that and understand what mama does and is working to create and share. It was really special because up until then, they hadn't seen me at work, end quote. The crew remember how Archie and Lili would run up to Meghan on set, recalling saying, quote, she was super attentive and doting on them. We would give them headphones so they would listen to the audio, end quote. Meghan added, quote, I hope that when they get old enough, they feel really proud that they were a part of the beginning of this with me, end quote. So the landingpagesever.com features a picture of Meghan and Lilibet hand in hand in their backyard surrounded by trees. Having her daughter on the site was especially meaningful for Meghan, saying, quote, being able to have my own little girl, as I've spent so much of my life championing the rights of girls and women, and to be able to see this as a multi-generational story. Archie is of course included in that, my husband is of course included in that, but I love the heritage feeling of it. And knowing that I can create in front of my daughter and teach her what it is like to be a working mom, this is something that hopefully can be a part of her legacy too, end quote. Life in Montesito has settled into a comfortable rhythm for Meghan and Harry. When she's not filming, afternoons are marked by what they lovingly call day dates, where they share a quiet lunch together in true parent fashion. The evenings include nightcap recaps, unwinding with a drink as they chat about their day and make lunch boxes. She said, quote, I think all parents in this phase with kids of the same age know it's rinse and repeat, end quote. If there's time, they'll catch up on TV together. She talked about the shows they love, White Lotus, and reflecting on the past 5 years since their move, Meghan acknowledges how much is different, saying, quote, 5 years ago, Archie was only 8 or 9 months old, so my life has changed so much, end quote. She also recounted her motherhood journey, welcoming a newborn, being pregnant while raising a toddler, and now raising both Archie and Lili. Quote, anyone who has children will tell you it's a huge evolution as a woman during that time. She also looks ahead to the next 5 or 10 years. She's open to what's to come. Quote, can you imagine? This is just the beginning. Life is full of surprises and, my gosh, in 10 years, Archie will be driving, end quote, she says. So that's the article. I wanted to get this out to you as fast as possible. Loved it. Loved the images that were accompanied as well. Seeing Meghan at home in her hat, wearing that white button-down shirt. And I love, this is my favorite image, seeing her here where she's photographed at her home in Montesito, wearing that gray sundress, surrounded by nature. It's so her, it's the show. So there's so much to look forward to. The show launches March the 4th. Share your thoughts on this beautiful picture of domestic bliss with Meghan, about to launch her new show and the brand as ever. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, before we log off, allow me here to thank those of you who support this channel financially and shout out a couple of you here by name. Elaine Babb, thank you for your continued support for my work here on YouTube. You mean so much to me, and for always making a significant difference through your kindness and your love. Know that you are valued and cherished. Thank you and God bless. A very special thank you to you, Gigi. I appreciate you for the love, for your dedication, and for demonstrating such admirable commitment through your generosity and giving. You are dear and kind, and I truly feel so blessed to know you. Thank you and God bless. A very special thank you right now to those of you who gave through Super Thanks. A very special thank you to you, Alma Andrews, who once again, through your generous contributions, has been a blessing to me and to my work here. Thank you. I cherish you, and I want to say that you are appreciated for your continued support and for going above and beyond. Thank you for showing so much confidence in what we're doing here, and you are so loved. Thank you, thank you. Once again, thank you to all who like, comment, share, to those who support this channel. I love you. If you like this one, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, follow on social media. Links will be in the pinned comment and in the description bar. I love you all. Have a great day, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.